The FBI calls it the silent crisis in Indian country. Crime related to gangs and drugs is on the rise on Native American reservations.
Last night, KELOLAND Investigates looked into the death of a young man, and while it's not known yet if gang activity was related, his death is suspicious. Tonight, KELOLAND's Angela Kennedy picks up the investigation on the Rosebud Reservation with young people who tell the shocking truth about how gang and drug life takes over.
Youth Appreciation Day at St. Francis School is a way to let kids know they matter on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation. Tribal elders know these attendees are the most vulnerable to be preyed upon by gangs.
A lot of these younger kids are impacted by that, gang violence. They, some identify with Crips or Bloods.
The gang mentality began infiltrating Native American reservations back in the 1990s. And over the years, their presence has grown here. But now they are recruiting members who are younger and younger. Is there a gang problem on this reservation?
I'd say yes, due to the fact that most of the families on reservations are gang associated with GDs or Bloods.
KELOLAND Investigates was allowed to speak openly with teenagers on the Rosebud Reservation about what they see happen with gangs. Their answers may shock you.
Because I live on the res, it's everywhere. It's just out there. It's easy to see it every day.
There's always at least one kid in the group that's in a gang. Maybe because we're easy targets.
Until I was 7, I grew up in a pretty good household until my dad started drinking. My mom lost her job. And they broke up.
Now 17, Israel Sharpfish's life has been heavily influenced by gangs. He joined one at just 8 years old.
My dad wasn't around to be a father figure. My mom was an alcoholic at the time, and I didn't know what to do, so I just went out, used my anger, started fights, troubles, and I was getting picked on by gang members of GDs, and I just decided to become a Blood.
That led to Sharpfish trying meth at just 13.
I didn't know what the drug was. They said just try it out, so I tried it out, took a hit, and it was meth. At first I liked it, but I slowly seen what it did to families, how it destroyed homes. There's a lot of things that turns you against your own family members. They'll even dare you to kill someone.
For 16-year-old Devin Spotted Eagle, the problem started when his grandmother, who was raising him, died.
Before my grandma passed, I was in a good position to where school was the main thing, friends, everything was stable. And when she passed, it's just the foundation just completely went under.
He was 15 and homeless.
A lot of places where I'd stay at and stuff, or ask people where I wouldn't have no place to stay, there's a lot of drug use.
Our gang problem turned into a drug problem, a more methamphetamine problem.
Rosebud Sioux Tribal Police Captain Ivor Crow Eagle is troubled by gang influence on tribal youth.
They tend to go to the culture that they think that's the perception that it's cool to be a gangster or to be, a gang member. That perception of family, wanting someone that wants them.
Because parents around here aren't really parents, so they go looking for their own family, I guess.
I talk to kids as young as 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, starting there, because unfortunately some of these kids are coming from families where there's an addiction problem that's entrenched, that's deeply rooted within the family and has been for 2 or 3 generations.
Chris Grant is a former Rapid City police detective and leading Native American gang expert.
There's nothing within Native American culture that connects to being a gang member. Part of the reason some of these young people in Indian country move and embrace the gang subculture is because they're disconnected from their own traditional culture.
It's not us at all. And there's been a resurgence in our efforts to go back to our traditions. And some dances, some of our ceremonies, we see a lot of our children get involved with that. And you see some positive results with that.
For both Sharpfish and Spotted Warbonnet, sports have been their way out of gang activity and have helped them stay in school, a school immersed in Native Lakota culture.
What my grandma always told me was finish school and make something of myself, and that's what I want to do.
Spotted Warbonnet hopes to study biomedical engineering at the South Dakota School of Mines. Sharpfish has his sights set on Duke and now sees himself as a role model for younger children.
I share their pain. I know what they went through, the trauma. There are some kids now that look up to me, and that's really opened my heart. I just really want to change their future. I really want to change the reservations.
And perhaps most importantly, rejecting outside gang culture.
And identifying who they are as a Native American, Lakota.
Grant emphasizes that most Native Americans living on the reservation are not taking part in gang violence. But he says just a small number of people who are can cause an inordinate amount of fear and criminal activity. With Kettleman Investigates, I'm Angela Kennecke.
The Rosebud Reservation lost 4 young people within a week last month, and one of those deaths is being investigated as a crime by both tribal law enforcement and the FBI. If you missed our original investigation into what happened to Alize Millard, you can watch it on KELOLAND.com.